Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this is the second vlog of our Victoria trip. So after getting off the BC ferries, our first step was the BC Parliament buildings, one of the most famous landmarks in Victoria. So we arrived at around 8:30 in the morning, and because it was still early, we were lucky enough to find a parking spot on the road near the Parliament buildings. So if you're planning to visit by your vehicle, arrive early, so definitely you can find a parking slot nearby. The British Columbia Parliament buildings are located beside Victoria's beautiful Inner Harbour and have been one of the city's most iconic attractions for more than a century. As soon as we arrived, we wanted to join the guided tour inside the Parliament building. The guided tours usually begin at around 9 o'clock in the morning, and visitors are taken inside in groups throughout the day. So before entering, we need to collect tour pass. As I remember, we need to get a ticket actually. So we were able to make some groups and waited for our turn. Since tour schedules may change depending on the parliamentary business or special events, it's actually always a good idea to check the official Legislative Assembly website before planning your visit to the Parliament. During our visit, actually I recorded some voice clips from the Parliament tour presentation. So throughout this video you will be able to hear interesting information shared by the tour guide. So now you must be wondering, why is this building is so important? The British Columbia Parliament buildings are the home of the Legislative Assembly of British Columbia. This is where the province elected members of the Legislative Assembly, and also known as MLAs, meet to discuss important issues, debate new laws, and also to make decisions that affect people across British Columbia.
My friend table over here, 6 person, 10 people, up these stairs. No drinks allowed. We get the drinks and artificial right inside.
This is not Canada's national parliament. Actually, Canada's federal parliament is located in Ottawa, Ontario. So these parliament buildings are specially for the province of British Columbia, and they continue to be used today whenever the Legislative Assembly is in session.
It was unveiled in 1987 by Queen Elizabeth II. The last time the Queen actually visited was in 2002, with a little bit more people upstairs. If you guys look at the top, you might be familiar with the sort of pattern of symbolism, because it kind of looks like the original royal crest. It's something that they use in England to this day. But what makes it more BC specific is on the top, there's a lion. The lion that represents the crown of the monarch. But the lion has got something around its neck. That's a collar made of dogwood flower. It's also seen along the bottom here. If you guys are from BC, you might know the significance of that flower. That's because BC is the original flower. So that's one difference in the original royal crest. A couple of other differences would be the animals on the left and the right side. On the left side here, you have the elk, which represents the former colony of Vancouver Island, where we are today. On the right-hand side, we have the bighorn sheep. That represents the former colony of British Columbia. In 1866, the former colony of Vancouver Island joined the former colony of British Columbia. And then in 1871, BC officially became a province, becoming the 6th province to join the country of Canada. We've got 10 provinces, 3 territories, and a country. And that's what the animals here represent. You also notice in the middle there's the royal crest, or sorry, the royal shield, the Union flag intentionally set above the sun. If you guys know your British history, you might be familiar with the saying, the sun never sets upon the British Empire. Because it's so vast, it's so many colonies, the sun never representing. So that's why the Union flag is intentionally above the sun. But we will see a couple of other coat of arms in the rest of our tour, and you'll notice that not all look like this one. Later on. And final thing, we've got a saying on the bottom here. It's written in Latin. It says splendor se occasu, which roughly in English can be translated into splendor without diminishment, further be translated into beauty without diminishment. And if you notice on our license plates here in BC, we've got a motto or a saying that says beautiful British Columbia, and it comes from this Latin saying right here, and it's basically a tribute to a beautiful province. We've got the mountains and the ocean. So that's what the saying comes from. The last one right over here. Any questions so far? Good to go? Alright. I'm going to get you guys to take a couple steps forward, kind of by the canoe, and take a look directly up into the really high ceiling, because you'll notice that's where the dome sits.
The building was officially opened in 1898 and was designed by the young architect Francis Rattenbury. More than 125 years later, it remains one of the most beautiful government buildings in Canada, and it is still used by the home of British Columbia's provincial government.
You just practice your culture. It's a pretty recent history as well. The last residential school to be shut down in Canada was in 1997, so not very long ago. But the story behind the orange shirt can be traced back to one little girl, and her name is Phyllis Webstad. Phyllis Webstad was a 6-year-old girl when she was first forced to attend residential school. And her grandmother actually gifted her a plain orange shirt. It looks like this one is all plain. But upon her arrival to the school, so when she got to school, the shirt was taken away from her. So we wear it every year on September 30th on Truth and Reconciliation Day across the country. To remember not only Phyllis' story, but to remember those Indigenous children that never returned back home, and to remember that dark piece of history that was part of Canada for a very, very long time. But this one right here is actually a gift. Victoria Inner Harbour co-founder, his name is Eddie Charlie. He gifted the t-shirt, Legislative Assembly in 2022, and it was unveiled for the Speaker of the House. That's what we'll talk more about when we go upstairs. But if you guys look at the shirt itself, you'll notice a couple of animals on it.
I hope you guys listen to those video clips. So if I tell more about this, one of the things that impressed us most was this beautiful architecture inside the building. So you will see elegant stained glass windows, detailed wood carvings, impressive stonework, historic paintings, and also magnificent ceremonial rooms. Every corner of the building reflects the history and traditions of British Columbia.
That is a BC flag, a beautiful flag. It was adopted in 1960, so it's relatively young. Right beside, right across from there, is another flag. That's been called the White Ensign, and that was a Canadian naval flag that we used from 1911 to 1965 until we adopted it completely. The upper rotunda, it's also known as the Memorial Rotunda. Wars, battles, Canadians, and British Columbians have been involved in most years. So that's what the White Ensign ends here, and how it goes alongside with the memorial. Once again, no reference to that flag, the flag, the national flag. Again, it's adopted in 1965, so it's relatively young. But compared to this one, it's actually 5 years old. Our provincial flag is 5 years old, the national flag is back. But before the naval, why is significant? Mostly because it kind of distinguished our army from Britain's army, making us a little bit more independent from our own. And that's why thanks here, once again, it's alongside. Because of the long walls, you'll notice a lot of detailing, a lot of old detailing, very specific. I don't know if anyone wants to take guesses as to whether it's real or fake gold. It's real. Real gold across the walls. Really thin, big gold beads, so very, very fine. Basically, when the military first constructed in 1893 and completed in 1897, so it took 4 years to make the building from the side. It's pretty crazy to think about nowadays. The architect of the building, his name is Ferry. He really wanted the detailing to be real gold, but at the time, he was made with a budget by like BC's economy was booming, doing quite well. And so at that time, we were able to implement real gold across these walls. But if anyone has the wrong idea, it was large enough to bring out that gold for spot taking gold. All the across these walls right here, you guys would be only left with the coin. It's about this big. So it's not worth the hassle. I recommend it. Let's take a look at it. Alright, you guys take a look above. You'll notice there's 4 murals or paintings.
The guided tour was very informative, and we learned many interesting facts about the province's history, government, and the significance of the Parliament buildings. So, if you're planning a trip to Victoria, I highly recommend to add this to your list. And it's a great opportunity to learn about the history and government of British Columbia while exploring one of the city's most beautiful landmarks. So I hope you guys enjoy the voice clips I have included from inside the tour because they make the experience even more interesting for you. So if you guys enjoyed my video, please share it with your friends and don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel She Vibes for more travel adventures across Canada. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next vlog. Bye.
That's pretty evident by the red roses representing England, the purple thistles at the bottom there representing Scotland, the yellow daffodils representing Wales, and then the shamrocks representing Northern Ireland. So definitely more UK themed. The BC one is not beginning. Alright, one year's gone. Then you guys are out here. This window right here. Again, last time we did take a little U-shape, so everybody can take a look at it. That would be awesome. Okay. Last up. Take a look at the golden Jubilee window. This is right across from the diamond Jubilee window down there. This was a gift to Queen Elizabeth II to commemorate her 50th year reigning as Queen. It was created by local artisans in Edward Shaper, Hans Mercer. Actually, Queen called him a couple times. He died. Very, very knowledgeable about stained glass and custom glass work itself. So, if you guys look, glass, we tap it out and pull it out.